Hey everyone, it's Faith. I want to share with you a story. Actually, it's not a story, but it's a real life thing that I went through, and it's one of the many things that God has, presented to me before previously. So as we are stepping into December 2024, know that we are going into an abundant time, and that you must listen to yourself, spend the time in prayer and meditation, self-reflection, gratitude, affirmations, and all that good stuff. Everything I've taught you this whole year or even before is what is suggested to you, and there's a reason why, is because I was being guided by God to tell you all that, because that was my practice as I was developing my own spiritual abilities. Okay, so the story is that I had a car for the last 10 years of my life, and I didn't buy it, but I had to drive it, right? And it was basically on its last leg. And I was like, man, it's getting to the point where it's going to cost really costly repairs, right? So I prayed to God with sincerity from my heart, asking for divine clarity. And I asked myself, when I got to that peaceful frame of mind, I asked God, all right, am I supposed to sell this car? Yes. Resounding loud yes, it is time. And then I asked, like, well, how much is the value of my car, right? And well, this is what I heard specifically was 6,000. And then I was like, okay, cool. Although I was surprised, because I'm like, well, my car is already showing all the warning lights and all that. How is that even possible, right? And then I heard to start looking. I asked, when should I start looking? And I heard, start looking now. And then I asked, when's the latest I can drive the car? And I heard no later than the first week of October, because there is a reason for this. So I'm like, okay. So I start looking, went to CarMax to see how much, my car would be for, also looking at other cars and all this other stuff. But I already knew exactly what I wanted. And I didn't exactly do like any sort of manifestation ritual or anything. I knew in my heart what I wanted. So I'm like, okay, I start looking. I'm not as serious in browsing, take my time. And by this time, it's like the last week of September going into October. And I knew that on 10/5 Saturday that that I have to do something, right? So on 10/5, well, earlier in that week, I had gone to a total of actually three dealerships. And mind you, I went by myself. Okay, now they say a lot of women shouldn't go to the dealership by themselves; they'll be taken advantage of, right? And I was like, well, that doesn't matter, because I need to get this car. Like, I know what I want. I'm gonna get it, and I know exactly what figure. I made my list. So anyway, I went to the first one. I already knew that the first dealership was a maybe, and it wasn't really giving me the fluffy vibes that I wanted, which is fine. It's an experience. So I went there first, didn't find the car, so I didn't go there. I didn't purchase from there. Second one was a maybe dealership, and again, they didn't have the car. They were nice and friendly and all that, but they just didn't have the car. And then the third one was the one that my gut was kind of pulling me to, right? And so maybe many of you are wondering, why didn't I go there in the first place? Well, there was a theme that was going on, right? I'm not going to share that part because that doesn't matter right now. So I went to the third spot. So on 10/5, right, as I'm driving to the third dealership, I look up in the sky. And of all the years that I have been talking about animal signs or birds, I have never in my entire life had seen a white bird, big white bird, flying with another gray bird in the sky. I was like, what is that? An albino goose or something? Like, I've never seen a white goose before. I don't even know what it is, because it was so far out there, but I knew it was a white bird. Well, the car I wanted was to be white, because I wanted a white car. So I was like, this is a sign, I have to do it. So anyway, I was cleaning out my car and all this other stuff, and there were signs in there about, like, I have to release this car. It's just like It's holding a lot of emotional baggage from my past, and I've been wanting to let go of this car, right? So by this time, I'm going to the third dealership, and I'm sitting there like, I'm feeling really good, first and foremost, when I came there. Long story short, the car I wanted there were two white cars. One was 5,000 miles and the other one was 2,000 miles. The 2,000-mile car was $80 more expensive. I know it's not much of a difference, but like, I wanted the 5,000-mile car. I wanted that car. I don't know what it was about it, but that was the one that they advertised. So as I got there, the dealership person or salesperson was very talkative. I mean, not talkative, he talked fast, right? So I was like, oh my gosh. And he had a slight accent too. So I'm like, okay, well, I know I'm at the right place because I could feel it, right? And so he sells me the one with the 2,000 miles, the one for $80 more. And then his colleague, who's a used car manager, assesses my car, and at first he offers $5,000. And I looked at him like, okay, like whatever. Because in my mind, I'm thinking like, can I really get this car? Like, is it really meant for me to have this car, right? Because it was a little bit more higher than I wanted to pay for. So then finally the used car management says, you know what, as he's about to shift me off to the next person, which is a finance person, he says, all right, I'm going to go ahead and, you know what, matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and give you $6,000 for your car, and I'm going to bring the APR rate for a used car from this percent to this percent. And I'm sitting there like, I'm already sold. I'm already sold because they have the car I want. They have the exact year. I mean, they have the year I want. It's a certified pre-owned. It had what I needed, what I wanted. I was sold anyway, regardless, even if the price was just a little bit higher, right? It didn't matter. I just knew it was mine, right? So I'm really trying to hold my face together with a poker face. And I'm like, I'm getting this car. I can't believe it. Oh my gosh, And I didn't even think I had the best, score either. But it all worked out. Everything worked out. And like even the manager, like used car manager, he gave me even more. He gave me like $6,200 for this car. And I was like, wow, like this is amazing, So anyway, I went ahead and drove off that night, like 9:30 p.m. at night. I got my new car, and I was still in like disbelief, like seriously, that went so fast. So when you're in flow, right, this is what happens. And I'll mention it up here, exactly all the things that happened while I was getting that car. But I do want to add that towards the end, I went back to the dealership, and I literally said something out loud. And so when you're manifesting, right, when you are in that flow of abundance and prosperity and all that good stuff, be careful for what you wish for, right? So I was trying to stay positive as possible, but what I said was, as I'm going to them, for some reason, I went back there the next week, and I said, gosh, I just bought a new car from them. The least thing that they could give me is at least a car net, because I really want a car net, right? It was one of the accessories I wanted in my car. That's what I was going there for, is to see what they have for accessories. Well, I go there, and my salesperson was like, oh, you need a net? Here it is. And I'm like, oh my God. And I had to smile and be like, yeah, God heard me. God definitely heard me. And that's exactly what God said. That's exactly what my angel said. God wants you to have this car. He wants you to have this car because there's a reason for it. And I said, oh, okay, I got it. So it doesn't matter if the price is a little bit higher. It's because God was saying, I'm going to provide for you. And I want you to trust me because I'm going to take care of you. And this is a sign. This is a message for all of you out there, that when you're thinking like, oh, I can't do this or that, it doesn't matter. It's given to you as a present, as a blessing. And that car was more than when God gives you something more than what you were thinking, it means that He wants to bless you with more. It means that it is a blessing in disguise, and to take it. That car was more than I wanted, but it's everything I needed. So yes, I just gratitude is so important. So that's my story, and that was exactly almost 10 minutes. Thanks for listening.